When we got the Nintendo Switch 2 presentation back in April, a common request I saw a lot of people asking for were Nintendo Switch 2 editions of games. Upgraded versions of past Switch titles upscaled to run on the Nintendo Switch 2, with added features to spice up the experience. Well, we got just that, with the aptly titled Nintendo Switch 2 Edition line of games. These games would either be purchasable at the new $70 standard, or accessible through $10 to $20 upgradable packs if you already have the game. It was super exciting seeing this announcement back in April, but a few months later, with many of these Switch 2 editions out, are these upgrades worth it? Well, that's what we're here to figure out. To do so, we're going to analyze all 7 first-party Switch 2 editions announced as of now, and discussing their new content, analyzing their graphical upgrade merit, and determining if any of this is worth an extra $10 to $20. Obviously, we'll be analyzing under the pretense that you actually want to play these games, as buying a game you don't have interest in is very clearly not worth it. However, under the assumption that you do, would I recommend the base $60 version of the game or the $70 to $80 Switch 2 edition? Then, after I've gone through every game, I'll go over my general consensus for the line of games and if they were a good idea in the first place. Alright, starting chronologically, let's start with the first Switch 2 edition announced, Super Mario Party Jamboree plus Jamboree TV. Super Mario Party Jamboree was my favorite game of 2024. It is the best Mario Party title since at least Mario Party 8, and it's very clearly a return to form for the series. I would say the game was easily worth the $60 price tag it debuted at last year. However, what about Jamboree TV? Well, I must say, when they announced the upgrade pack during the Direct, I was extremely excited. Mario Party is not usually a game that gets DLC, and this expansion to an already incredible game seemed very promising. This upgrade pack included a couple new rule sets for standard Mario Party, including a tag team mode and frenzy rules for a short game. Along with these new rules, you get 2 new modes, Bowser Live and Carnival Coaster. These are both modes that make use of the Switch 2's new features such as mouse mode, camera play, and a microphone. Then finally, the game also adds 14 new minigames to the base Mario Party experience. Now, I will say, I've never been a huge fan of Mario Party side modes. They just don't scratch the same itch as the normal board game experience. Bowser Live and Carnival Coaster are fine, but they're just not my cup of tea. However, Tag Team and Frenzy rules are big additions here, specifically Frenzy mode. It gets you right into the action of what the final 5 turns of Mario Party feels like. It makes impromptu games so much easier to pull together, as 5 rounds is so much less daunting than asking others to play, say, 10 to 15 rounds. I also really do like the mouse minigames. Mario Party, out of every Nintendo series, is the one that I actually think really benefits from odd control schemes and gimmicks, and these 14 minigames are all really fun. As for graphical upgrades, it's Mario Party. You're not buying it for the graphics, and if you were, they're marginally better. However, is the $20 price tag for the Jamboree TV upgrade pack worth it? Well, not necessarily. I bought it because I'm a big Mario Party fan, and I knew I would get $20 worth of enjoyment out of it, but it definitely does not have enough content to justify that price. Had it been $10, I would have given it the thumbs up, but unless you're a big fan of Mario Party already, I would just stick to buying the base game first, and if you really feel like it down the line, picking it up. On the opposite side of the Switch 2 edition spectrum, we have The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. These 2 games were a modern marvel on the Switch 1. However, playing these games on a console that can actually run these games with ease is truly a blessing. Playing the game in 4K while docked, having stable high frame rates, and HDR support enhances these games to a point we previously only could have dreamed of. However, beyond graphical enhancements, what else do the Switch 2 editions offer? Well, you get Zelda notes, something no one uses and will be lost media in 2 decades. Jokes aside, the idea here is neat. You can use it as a navigation system, transfer Zonai builds to friends, and check play data. It's another one of these quirky Nintendo perks that is a bit odd, but gives off that Nintendo charm. The problem here is, that's about all you're paying for, a graphical upgrade and Zelda notes. Now, let's talk about it. Are these upgrade packs worth $10? Well, this is where I want to bring up my biggest issue with the Nintendo Switch 2 editions. By making upgrade packs, you lock graphical enhancements behind a paywall. which if you're asking me is quite weird. Sure, you get Zelda notes, but everyone here knows you're buying these upgrade packs for upgraded graphics. Something the game you already have and the console you already have can already do. The only difference here is that you gotta check a $10 checkbox. I for one think this is a bad business practice. Locking out graphical enhancements behind a $10 price tag is just so silly to me. Sure, this is to bring the price of the game up to the new Switch 2 standard, but making us pay up just to unlock 4K and HDR abilities is plain predatory. However, these two upgrade packs specifically were free for Nintendo Switch Online expansion pack members, which I guess lightens the blow of getting nickeled and dimed here again, but whatever. Graphically, these games look stunning with the expansion pack. Are they worth $10 each? No. Do I recommend them? Yeah. Kirby and the Forgotten World Switch 2 edition yet again takes a different approach to how to add content to the base game. Kirby takes the approach of adding a new story on top of the Forgotten World. In the starcrossed world, you can explore past levels now transformed into starry stages. These levels are remixed versions of old levels with new paths and challenges to take on. There are also 3 new mouthful mode transformations to starcrossed world. These mouthful modes are all moveset based and are very fun additions to the game. Then finally, there's the Ultimate Cup ZEX, an even harder version of this game's boss rush. I'm actually very impressed with the amount of content in this Switch 2 edition. Well, as impressed as I can be. There's only 12 new levels in Starcrossed World, and I put new in quotes because they're still set in old levels, just with new paths and challenges. My main problem with recommending this Starcrossed World is just the price. $20 for 12 levels, 3 mouthful modes, and a new boss rush wasn't worth it for me. If Kirby and the Forgotten Land was your favorite game on the Switch 1, you'll love this. But for everyone else, I'd give the Switch 2 edition a solid B+. A B+ for effort and heart, because that's what this upgrade pack has. Also, it's just a really nice looking game, and the Switch 2 edition graphics do it justice. If this was $10, this would be a slam dunk, but for $20, I'm still mildly amused. Next, we have Pokemon Legends ZA. And all I can say is, do not buy this as a Switch 2 edition. There are no content differences between the base and upgraded version, and there is no reason to buy the Switch 2 edition for graphical upgrades. This game looks bad, whether or not you have the upgrade pack. The frame rate will be just as good on the base version, and you'll just be locked out of the 4K graphics, which is like putting lipstick on a pig. Running this game in 4K will not fix ugly textures. This isn't to say you shouldn't buy the game if you like Pokemon. By all means, if you enjoy the Legends games, buy the base version and have fun. However, it's just not worth $10 extra buying the Switch 2 edition. Now we're getting to the Switch 2 editions that have been announced but haven't released yet. I can't say for sure if I think they're worth it or not yet, as I haven't had the chance to test them out. But I'm pretty sure from the information that's been provided so far, I can come to a fair conclusion. Firstly, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. Now this is a Switch 2 edition. Sure, is there really any new content here? Not really, but this is basically a Switch 2 game in my mind at this point. So by the time I play it, everything will be new content. Graphically, this game looks gorgeous. 4K at 60 frames per second or 1080p at 120 frames per second is honestly mind-boggling for a Nintendo game of this caliber. The best part here is it's only $10. None of this $20 nonsense from Kirby or Mario Party. A solid $10 to make it a Switch 2 experience. I still hate the price, but at least I don't feel like I'm being cheated here. Also, mouse mode finally has a purpose. You can use the right Joy-Con on its side for camera and aim controls, something that looks extremely natural and correlates to Samus's blaster in-game. I obviously can't tell if this will be a one-off use for me or an everyday controller scheme I use. However, the option that it's here is what I'm excited about. In totality, I do think this Switch 2 edition is worth it. Is it hypocritical to say Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom aren't worth it, but Metroid Prime 4 is? Totally. But I think there is some merit to the point that out of all of these Nintendo Switch 2 editions, this one really is doing something the Switch 1 can't. Graphically and controller-wise, this is a Switch 2 experience. So in my shoes, barring the fact that I have the means to drop $10 extra because I want the Switch 2 experience, I think it's worth it. However, if you're just looking to play Metroid Prime 4 and aren't worried about graphical performance or mouse controls, buy the base game for $60. It's gonna be the exact same game. Our latest announced Switch 2 edition is for Super Mario Bros. Wonder. The upgrade pack will add Bella Bell Park, a multiplayer minigame hub where players can duke it out with friends in a wide array of games. This pack may also add new levels as hinted at towards the end of this trailer. As past content-heavy upgrade packs have been $20, I will be going with the assumption that this will also be $20 when the price is revealed, but don't quote me on that. So what are my thoughts? I think this upgrade pack is a slam dunk. I can't say that for sure because I haven't played the thing, nor have we seen all that it has to offer in this trailer alone, but if this is truly $20 for upgraded visuals, multiplayer minigames, and potentially new Mario Wonder levels, I'm all for this. I was hesitant to recommend Jamboree TV and Starcrossed World because those games are somewhat niche titles in the Nintendo lineup, as niche as Mario Party and Kirby can be. However, this is Mario frickin' Wonder we're talking about. The chance to run around and experience new content in this game is something I was personally begging for. So will it be worth the extra $20? Time will tell, but I'm really leaning towards yes. If Bella Bell Park turns out lackluster and not that fun, I would be a bit disappointed. And if there's only like 5 levels, that would be really frustrating. However, I see them viewing this more as a DLC rather than a Switch 2 edition. I'm under the impression from watching and analyzing this trailer that this is a fairly big content dump. So I lean toward my answer here being yes. It should be worth it. $20 is quite a bit of money, about a third of the price of the base Super Mario Bros. Wonder. I don't expect a third's worth of content here, but I'm cautiously optimistic about this Switch 2 edition. So rounding out my thoughts here, in total, I recommended 3 out of the 7 Nintendo Switch 2 editions. And of those 3, 2 of them have yet to come out. So there's still time to underwhelm me there. I wouldn't say I'm impressed with the Nintendo Switch 2 editions as much as I am saying don't set your expectations too high here. On the Switch 1, Nintendo could get away with recycling old Wii U ports to generate bonus revenue while they worked on new games. They can't really do that on the Switch 2, so this is the replacement. My recommendation to all of you is to only buy upgrade packs or Switch 2 editions that are explicitly calling to you. If you're a big Mario Party fan, buy Jamboree TV. If you're a big Kirby fan, buy Starcrossed World. If you're a big Pokemon fan, don't buy the Switch 2 edition and go buy yourself a Slurpee and a Hershey bar to eat while playing the base version of this game. Jokes aside, Switch 2 editions are worth it when you find value in them. If spending an extra $10 to make Tears of the Kingdom prettier makes you happy, do it. Just don't buy a game as a Switch 2 edition for the box it comes in or the red cartridge inside. Keep your money and instead buy the base version of the game. Anyways, thanks for watching the video. Let me know your thoughts on the Switch 2 editions in the comments below and let me know if you think they're worth it or not. And with all that said, this is Mac from the Switch Shop signing out. Peace.